Hello. Welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. It's time for not a deadline stream, actually a slightly different stream today, because we are going to cover the final decisions video stuff, basically. Of course, with the press conferences and team news still coming in as we speak, there's going to be no time this week to actually kind of fully make a video, edit it, upload it, process it, everything like that. It's just going to take too long. So I thought we'll just go live. We'll give the team news as it comes in, as well as everything we've got so far this morning and yesterday and throughout the week as well. So going to cover all of the team news, all of the injuries. By the way, guys, bad news, more injuries to defenders. Yeah. Feels like we just cannot catch a break for defenders at the moment in FPL. It's absolutely tragic. It's a nightmare. We're also going to talk about some replacements for some defenders, as well as looking at I don't want to say wildcard team, but like a potential best possible team to take into the final game weeks of the season. So lots to cover today, guys. If you do enjoy this one, make sure you are dropping those likes, particularly if you are watching live or as a replay. Appreciate it all, guys. And yeah, we'll do a stream now. We'll take a break for a couple of hours, and we will be back later on this afternoon and do a deadline stream. So yeah, 2 streams today. Yes, indeed. Let's get cracking. I think you guys are probably very keen to hear about some of the team news, so I won't keep you waiting any longer. Let's get started. So yeah, first of all, I guess we go through this very quickly because we couldn't do this on yesterday's video because I recorded the video before the Chelsea versus Spurs game, so you guys may not know my final scores, but pretty good. Pretty good in the end. Palmer and Jackson and Petrovic, in fairness, as well, coming in clutch in that game. Nothing from Pedro Porro or Son, but in general, a very good start to the wild card for me with 93 points. Long may it continue. I think we're looking pretty good. We might have a look at my team again towards the end of this stream, but I want to talk about the press conference notes first. We have got a Google Docs today. Yeah, sorry guys, we haven't got the usual fancy graphics. There's just no time. There's just no time today. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Friday deadlines and all that. But let's go team by team, starting off with Arsenal. We will hopefully fill in some of these gaps as well by the end of the stream. But yeah, what we got so far is from Arsenal, Jurrien Timber. He could be back in the squad soon. He has actually been playing with the under-21s for Arsenal, which is good. So expected to see some minutes from him between now and the end of the season. I don't know if it's maybe too risky to start him, but maybe that left-back position is an option for him. Could he play at right back potentially instead of Ben White? Maybe. Ben White's just been too good. But yeah, I do expect Timber to get some minutes between now and the end of the season. And everyone else, according to Arteta, is fit and available. So we've got players like Martinelli. We're probably expecting him to come back into the team potentially. And Jesus obviously been back, a good fitness for a while now. Everything's good at Arsenal. Things are looking very good in terms of fitness. And when we get to Man City, we'll see if they've got the same situation. For Aston Villa, Martinez picked up a hamstring injury last game week. He is going to be a doubt for this week. That's what we know so far. There's not actually been a press conference for Aston Villa today. We got some information yesterday ahead of the Europa Conference League game, though, against Olympiacos, which included information like Zaniolo. He's back. Alex Moreno, he's apparently closed. Tielemans has a groin issue. He may be available. For Bournemouth, Kirk is still suspended. Semenyo is fit. And Zabani and Billing are back. They were ill last game week, but they're expected back in the team for this game week indeed. Got nothing on Brentford and Brighton yet. Maybe we get something soon. Didn't get too much from Burnley. Koleosho still not ready to feature. Could be back before the end of the season. But company is really rubbish in terms of looking for team news. So nothing there. For Crystal Palace, Eze and Gehi are back and available. I'm not sure if we're going to get any more team news for Crystal Palace between now and the end of the stream. I imagine we might get 1 or 2 notes. But good news, if you still have the likes of Eze in your squad, played against Manchester United, of course, this week, it could be pretty nice. Could be pretty interesting. And I think, to be fair, like I'm someone who has Onana and Maguire. I think the fact that Eze is back may convince me actually to kind of remove those players from my starting 11, to be honest, because there's a dangerous player, very dangerous player. For Everton, Mikalenko is out for the season. Beto is back following a concussion protocol. DCL and Coleman is back in full training. which is good. We'll see. We'll see what happens there with the Beto and DCL Calvert-Lewin situation. Not really sure, because a few people have kind of asked about, this fixture against Luton for Everton. Is it worth going for Calvert-Lewin? I worry a bit with Beto back a little bit, because DCL is he's not been fully fit. He's only come back into the training this week, so I'm not fully convinced that going for an Everton forward is the way. I know it's super differential. Very few people actually considering it, but just wanted to put that one out there. Patterson also not expected to be back between now and the end of the season. For Fulham, finally, they've got some injuries. A late call is going to be made on Harrison Reed, and Tosin, he is fit, but there seems to be some other issues going on there. I wonder if Tosin is trying to force a move out of Fulham at the moment. That kind of seems to be what's going on, and as such, maybe his commitment is being questioned a little bit, and that's why he's been frozen out of the team last game week, potentially there. I know Fulham fans are a little bit frustrated with that situation. For Liverpool, well, Salah completely resolved the situation with Klopp. Apparently it's a non-story. We don't need to worry about it. Salah, he's going to be playing as normal. Whether normal means starting every game or being benched for some of those games, I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, he's going to be certainly back in and around the squad. We're not expecting the blow up from last week to really amount to anything. They're adults, they're professionals, they'll move on. Van Dijk, he has picked up an injury, so commiserations, Van Dijk owners, another defensive injury. I know. Yeah, he could be ruled out for game week 36. He's not trained this week, so yeah. Little concern there about Van Dijk. I'll probably say, to be fair, ahead of this Spurs game, Van Dijk is probably going to be a sell anyway. So if you do still have Van Dijk, get him gone. We'll have a look at some defender replacements very, very shortly. Bradley is back in training. I don't know if it's going to be a match fitness situation with him, though. And to be fair, Trent Alexander-Arnold is probably nailing down that right back slot anyway. And Diogo Jota still not quite available. For Luton Town, Adebayo is the only returnee this week, so still a pretty light squad for Luton Town. For Man City, Edison, he is trained. He's back in training as of today, yesterday. Yeah, he's back in training. So everyone who was worried about Edison and the whole Edison situation, there is, I think, to be fair, a good chance that he does start this game week. I don't think it's guaranteed. Man City have made comments that Ortega, whenever he's come in, has been very, very reliable. So I don't think Edison will necessarily be rushed back into the team. But there is still a good chance that he does start this game week. So, yeah, not sure. I certainly think Ortega, if you were thinking about buying Ortega, just forget it. Forget about it. Edison will be, hopefully at least back for the double game week next week, and that's kind of the game week where you would want an Ortega in for. So yeah, I think we'd leave Ortega now because Edison training, feeling good. Good news there for Edison owners. Foden and Diaz are available following illness. We kind of knew that was going to be the case. Any player who's ever out with illness is never out for very long, are they? Really? Doesn't seem to be the case. So yeah, Foden, if you are a Foden owner, do not even think about selling him. His run on the sidelines is hopefully going to be finally coming to a close. And Haaland, comments on Haaland as well from Pep Guardiola. He's good. He's ready to go, ready for a start in Game Week 36 following his cameo in Game Week 35, which in fairness, I thought he looked quite sharp in that game. For Manchester United, Bruno Fernandez. Yeah, this is possibly one of the bigger pieces of news of the game week. Bruno Fernandez is a doubt, according to Ten Hag. But then he did go on to say, never rule him out. So it does seem like Fernandez is technically injured right now. But we all know this very, very well. Bruno is just the kind of player who will always make the, 1,000,000% kind of effort to get fit, to be available for every single game for Manchester United. That's just the kind of guy he is. He wants to play every single game, and his recovery has been incredible. It's been incredible in the past. So anytime Bruno is doubtful, you always got to give him a chance to start. But it's not a guarantee, and I wonder if he's not 100%, maybe he plays a part in the game, comes off the bench or something like that. Is it a case of just starting Bruno and hoping that he does start, or are you worried about him being benched and getting minutes off there? I don't know if this actually solves a benching headache or not, because I know a lot of Bruno owners a lot of Bruno owners are people who maybe wildcarded last game week, for example, probably have a bit of a benching dilemma this week, particularly with Gordon. You know, a lot of people have Son, Gordon, Bruno, obviously, and Nicholas Jackson. Like, those are the 4 players that I think a lot of people are probably have got on their benching dilemma, benching headache kind of scenario. So, yeah, it's a tricky one. You could just bench Fernandez and just say, okay, this has been solved. To be fair, I don't think this Crystal Palace away game is a great fixture anyway. So that's probably what I would do. Out of those 4 players I kind of mentioned there, I would probably now be leaning towards benching Bruno. Because the worst case scenario is that he does start but isn't at 100% fitness and is playing against a pretty tough defence in Crystal Palace and a pretty tough team in Palace as well. So that's the one concern that you might have there. But the worst case scenario is not even that bad, right? Evans, he's back in full training. McTominay has not trained. And Martial is back in some light training as well. He's doing partial training at the moment. For Newcastle, yeah, this is another one of the big headlines of the game week, really. Fabian Schr, it looked initially like it wouldn't be so bad, but apparently, according to Eddie Howe, to be fair, Eddie Howe is not always known for being 100% truthful. Maybe that's putting it lightly. He's a liar. He's just a lying manager in these press conferences. But he has said pretty, I don't know, with a decent amount of confidence that Fabian Schr is likely to be out for the rest of the season. How much truth is in that? You would say he's at least ruled out for this game week. If you take him by his word, he's going to be out for the double game week as well. It's a problem. It's problematic. And I think if you do own Fabian Schr, you have a couple of options, really. Do you just move him to Dan Burn, bank the cash that you can make a little bit of profit, I suppose, by selling Schär to Dan Burn, and then you've got that guaranteed defender for the rest of the season? Or do you bet on Eddie Howe being a liar? I think you kind of, with this press conference information, you do kind of have to take managers and clubs at their words. So I would, err on the side of caution here, and I think you just have to assume that Schär is going to be out for the rest of the season at this point, and therefore Fabian Schr would be a sell. That's what I would possibly say on that one. Trippier, though, he's not going to be back. He's doing some individual training in Dubai or Qatar or somewhere like that. Can't remember exactly where he was, but he's flown abroad to do some individual rehabilitation. So he's not going to be back yet. He is expected to return this season, though. Not sure when that's going to be. Anyone with plans to maybe bring in Trippier for double game week 37, I think that might be a little bit too risky. Not sure I would go there. Pope, still in full training. He returned to full training last game week. He is going to be in contention now to start getting some game time. I think Pope is probably looking like he's going to be on the bench for Newcastle this game week against Burnley. I'd say there's a very good chance of him being on the bench. In terms of whether he starts or not, that's a different question. Howe did kind of make the note that, Pope is going to have to earn his place back. Dubravka's done pretty well recently, and Pope is, I know he is their number one choice, but nothing's guaranteed. Minutes are not guaranteed. You do have to work and earn your place. Difficult how Pope is going to earn his place outside of, playing games and giving it a good go. Maybe Howe wants to see him do really well in training, but he's been in training now for nearly 2 weeks. So you have to wonder how soon that's going to happen. I would say that the Dubravka, if you don't own Dubravka already, you're probably just completely give him a miss now, because particularly when we look at the double game week 37, Pope you would probably say, is going to get some game time, at least one of those 2 games over the double game week, given the information we have right now. So Dubravka is going to be a troublesome player to own, I suppose. So yeah, not saying that Dubravka is a sell. I don't think he's a sell this game week necessarily, particularly if you want to start him against Burnley. I think he's worth holding on to. But after that, yeah, could be some problems with Dubravka. Certainly wouldn't like to buy Dubravka. That's all I would say. Almiron and Joelinton back in full training as well. And all 3, Pope, Almiron and Joelinton, could feature in game week 36. For Forest, Williams is doubtful with a hamstring injury. Almoni back in full training. He's available. Bolly is good to go. For Sheffield United, McAtee is back. Brewster, Egan, Davies, Jefferson, they're back on grass, but they're not ready to play. No guarantees they'll even play again this season. For Spurs, we saw Werner and Davies picking up injuries in the first game of Game Week 35. That's going to rule them both out for the rest of the season. So I think there are some potential opportunities here. So, for example, Brennan Johnson's game time potential has improved, as has Richarlison's potential game time as well. So good news, I suppose, on those guys. Maybe for, Emerson Royale. He's probably going to be playing as the left back for Spurs for the rest of the season now. So expect Emerson Royale to be starting, really, it could be for the rest of the season. I think Emerson Royale's quite cheap as well. I have to double check this, but I think it's like 4.2 million, 4.2, 4.3. So it could be worth a little punt there if you're looking for a super cheap defender. 4.3 million. Yeah, there you go. He did actually have he very nearly scored against Chelsea, actually. He was like inches away, like kind of dived for the ball, reached for the ball and for a cross and didn't quite get the connection. But yeah, as we know with Spurs, their fullbacks do play fairly high up the pitch. So there is some potential there for Emerson Royale if you wanted to go there. But yeah, not sure. Certainly Richarlison, Brennan Johnson, looking a little bit better. Kulusevski and Maddison probably competing for that number 10 spot at the moment. Although you have to say, after that Chelsea game, you have to wonder whether some changes are needed in that Spurs lineup. And then that's all we got for team news at the moment, unless anything new has come in, which I guess we can go and have a look at and fill in some gaps here. Let's fill in some gaps, and we'll do another roundup of all this team news in the deadline stream later. I'll perhaps just have it on screen, but let's see. Can we find anything? Ben Dinnery, he's usually pretty good for team news. Let's see what he's got for us. So, okay. Harrison Reed, we already spoke about him. Okay, we've got some Chelsea news here. Levi Colwill and Christopher Nkunku are nearing a comeback following a return to team training. Neither player made the squad, but they have a chance of making the bench this weekend. So Jackson's still good. Jackson's still good for this game week, which is nice. For West Ham, we've got some news here. Mavropanos, is this actually team news? No team news. Yeah, no team news from West Ham, sadly. We don't need to speak about Palace because we already kind of covered them. Both Eberechi, Eze and Gehi going to be available. For Wolves, Bellegarde, Neto, Bueno back in full training. So they could all be back. So, okay, in fairness, some improvement to the Man City, for the Wolves attack against Man City. Dawson's not going to be available, though. But we kind of knew that one already. What else have we got? Lallana, unavailable for Brighton. Don't think that matters too much in terms of FPL. We covered Bournemouth. We covered Arsenal. Man City we've covered already. Covered Spurs. That's probably just about all that's out at the moment then. Is there any other players, big players, that you guys would like to know about? Gusto, I suppose. Is there any update on Gusto? Quicker Twitter search might help us out there. Okay, Chelsea have embargoed quotes. Okay, so we've got no definitive news on Gusto, sadly. All right, well, let's just update that here. Press conference embargoed. So we've got no information there. So no update on Gusto. Latest was that he was targeting a game week 36 return. Nkunku and Colwill expected back on bench. Okay. Yeah, so sadly guys, no Gusto news there. Van Hecker says Paul. Let's have a look. Last I heard, he was going to be out for the season. No time. Okay, no time scale on Van Hecker. No, which does suggest he is going to be out for the season. On Van Hecker return, possibly out for the season. Okay, bad news there. Yeah, again, let me know if there's any other players in particular you'd like to have a look at. And Lamptey, was there anything on Lamptey there? What do you really think about Lamptey? Is Lamptey even injured? Well, he has been injured, hasn't he? To be honest, I haven't heard about Lamptey in so long. Knock unknown return date. I mean, he's just been injured on and off for what feels like years. But yeah, okay, it doesn't look like he is available according to the FPL website, but doesn't seem like we've got any other update. That's really... Oh, okay, Lamptey also no timescale. Right, okay, fine. There we go. Right, let's move on, because I've made a couple of changes to my team. I'm going to also do a wildcard type team just to have a look at some best options. So we need to look at some defenders as well. And then we'll do some questions as well before we wrap up this stream and take a break before the deadline stream. But, yeah, this is where I'm at the moment. I've made a couple of changes since yesterday. I've made one change, which was playing Petrovic and benching Onana. I actually thought Chelsea looked pretty good defensively against Spurs, so I'm backing them. And Eze being back worries me a little bit for Manchester United. So Onana is gone to the bench and Petrovic is going to start. So there we go. Also, I think I did kind of toy with the idea of captaining Palmer ahead of Haaland. I've gone off that a little bit more, just because Palmer, I don't know, I feel like Palmer is just trying to do too much at the moment. I'm maybe seeing a little bit of greediness there, which is sometimes good for FPL, but also, I don't know, sometimes it just looks like he's trying to do too much and actually kind of at a detriment to himself. Hopefully he can figure that out. I think he was similar in the first game against Aston Villa. I thought there was similar kind of issues in the first half against Aston Villa. So yeah, I don't want to say that Palmer is now out of form. I definitely don't think that's true. You know, there's definitely been some moments that we've seen in the last couple of games, but I don't think he is in unbeatable, unplayable form at the moment where you absolutely must captain him. So I'm going to back Haaland this week, I believe. So yeah, not feeling that differential as much as I perhaps was a couple of days ago. Let's go on the Fantasy Football Hub, my team tool. We've got a super chat as well. A super chat from Otto. Thank you very much for the support, Otto. Question 1, start 2 out of Darwin, Son and Gordon. I would start 2. I would maybe go... You know what? I would be so tempted by Darwin, because the Spurs team are looking a little bit worrying at the moment. Gordon away form is terrible. I would definitely start Son. You know, having a penalty taker, benching penalty takers is just not something I like doing. Gordon and Darwin would really be the question. I think the safe choice is to go Gordon. But Darwin is, maybe a slightly higher upside pick. I don't know. Okay, let's say Gordon. Son and Gordon. Question 2, Schär to White or a -8 to do Gusto, Schär and Darwin to Jackson, White and Burn. Well, the problem is doing Darwin to Jackson, I don't really think helps your team, because that just creates a benching dilemma between Jackson, Son and Gordon, right? So I don't think it's worth the additional hit. Gusto and Schär to White and Burn for a -4 though. I kind of like it. So, yeah, there you go, Otto. Start Son and Gordon, and I would just do the -4. Just do the defender transfers, because we want to get that defence sorted. I think you're fine with Darwin on the bench for one more game week. Let's build a wildcard team. So, where are we at? Well, this is where we're at. We're looking to build a wildcard team for this game. Like, what is the perfect team? The dream team for the final few game weeks of the season? I think different people are going to have different opinions on this one. I think Petrovic would definitely be one of your goalkeepers. I think there's a couple of defenders that really stand out as must-haves. Burn would be one of them. Pedro Porro would possibly be another one of them, particularly if Maddison is getting less game time. We're going to see Pedro Porro on some set pieces, and his attacking numbers, actually not been too bad over the last couple of weeks. Let's get up an Opta stats page. Of course, guys, I think there's a Fantasy Football Hub link in the description as well if you do want to check out any of these tools that we're using today. Pedro Porro over the last, I don't know, let's say a couple of weeks. I mean, it's not too bad. Not too bad. 5 shots. We've taken more than a shot. Well, a shot in the box per game. Created 2 big chances over the past couple of game weeks. It's not bad. It's not bad. So, NGS says it might be that he doesn't have the money without the forward transfer. That's a good point. Also, if you actually do need to make that additional transfer, well, what's the difference between Darwin and Jackson? Though, isn't it like only 0.2 million? Maybe that makes a difference. If that does make, if you know you really do need to find an extra 0.2 million or something like that, then maybe you do have to do the Darwin move as well. Yeah, understandable if so. Back to this. Okay, so outside of that, let's assume we're going for a bench boost in 37 because I think most of us are, vast majority are. We need to figure out some more players, and I think so far in the defensive positions, I think these are the most likely players. I know people will be shouting out, Guardiola, you've got to play Guardiola. But I think the debate with Guardiola and Edison is the idea of potentially going for a Man City triple up. We know Foden's going to be in any perfect team right now, as is Haaland. We'll add to that. Mark with a super chat here quickly first. Mark says, firstly, a massive thank you for your amazing content all season. You're most perfectly welcome, Mark. I look forward to every video. Would you play Jackson over Gordon? Yes, my friend, I literally am going to be playing Jackson over Gordon. So, yeah, the answer is a definitive yes on that one. Jackson is obviously a player who gets a lot of stick, particularly among FPL managers. But he could have scored 4 goals quite easily. In the double game week just gone. Easily. A goal ruled out for a marginal offside. Hits the post with a really, really good header effort. That was so close. And then in his second game, he obviously does score a goal. And he also had another really good one-on-one chance with the goalkeeper, Vicario. Puts it past Vicario, and Van de Ven gets back with his rapid speed and clears the ball off the line. Crazy stuff. So Jackson, yeah, if you watch the games, you probably think, actually, Jackson's been playing pretty well. And we know he's going to start as well, and Nkunku's still not quite available. And even if Nkunku is available, I think Jackson maybe just moves over to the left wing, to be honest. Joali says, play Nori or -4 Schär to Kukurea. Don't think I'd buy Kukurea for a -4. I think there's still a chance that Chilwell plays before the end of the season. So that could be a problem there. Any news on Nori? We didn't quite get to Wolves, did we? Oh, is my internet down? I don't know if you guys can see or hear me right now. Hopefully things are back. I think my internet is as always very, very bad. No update on Nori. Okay. Yeah, no update. Yeah, just quickly on Nori. I know someone asked in the chat. There's no update. Oh my word, have I just lost all my progress on this because my internet dropped? One day I'll be able to either the UK will actually sort their internet crisis in the countryside, or I could just move house. I don't really want to move to the city though. But anyway, let's just go back and put some players who we just know are going to be in any wildcard draft right now. We'll just rush through this. So all of these players, are going to be nailed on. I do want to focus on the defensive positions a little bit because I think these are going to be the kind of defenders who people are actually looking to buy this week as well. I think Burn is probably target number 1 of defenders you absolutely must have. I think Guardiola, if you don't want to triple up on the Man City attack, is definitely a player you want to think about as well. Pedro Porro, I think, yeah, again, is there. If you want to go cheaper, like Emerson Royale, I definitely think has got some potential there. But there we go. Starlink, says Mr. Glass. Starlink is just as unreliable in terms of internet dropping. And it's so expensive. Guys, get the super chats in. Maybe we'll be able to afford it. Anyway. So, for me personally, I still like Jackson. Like, if we're looking for a third forward for the rest of the season, where are we looking at, honestly? Højlund has been in horrible, horrible form. Well, I say horrible form. He's just, he's not even getting a chance. He's not even getting a sniff at goal at the moment. João Pedro's not been in good form. Brighton have been in terrible form in general. Watkins, single game week player, I suppose. Could you potentially go there? No double. I don't know. Watkins versus Jackson. Maybe that's just going to be a budget concern. Does Jackson outscore Watkins with the additional fixture? And better fixtures, might I add, as well. Jackson does have better fixtures. I think if I was on a wild card this week, I'll definitely be tempted to go Watkins this week and then transfer to Jackson the following week. But in all honesty, you probably don't. It's probably not worth a transfer. You may as well just stick with Jackson, to be honest. So I don't know. I definitely wouldn't say Jackson is a must-have in the forward slot. Collins mentioning Wood, possibly. Again, no double game week there. Wilson, no, not expecting him to get very much game time at all, so I wouldn't touch Wilson with a 10-foot barge pole. I think if you're looking for a third double game week forward, the answer is Jackson. But I don't think he's the only option. I think Watkins is worth a shout. I think Wood is worth a shout. For me personally, I'm going to leave this blank for now. But if I wasn't a wild card right now, I would be going for. I think I would be going for Jackson. Right, let's move into the defensive positions. I know that's what you guys want to talk about. I'm not going to put Guardiola in just yet. But who I am going to try and put in is some more players. Now, Brighton I'm not feeling at the moment. Liverpool I'm still a little concerned about. No doubles there either. An Arsenal defender is probably the right way to go, if we're totally honest. Ben White, Gabriel. You could even double up, to be totally honest, couldn't you? You could do both. But let's just put Gabriel in for now. I would be very tempted by Emerson Royale if you're looking for that cheap defender. Why Petrovic over Pickford? He plays an additional game. Petrovic plays 2 games in Game Week 37. And I have to say, I actually really like the look of that double game week for Chelsea. Thought they looked really good defensively against Spurs. And then they're going to play against Forest and Brighton, 2 teams who are really struggling for goals at the moment. So I like Petrovic a lot. I think you've got to get involved in that Chelsea defence somehow, and no one else is nailed. So it's going to be done. I would be very tempted to go for Emerson Royale. If you're looking for a cheap defender, like I know people were kind of previously had the likes of Van Hecke, Lascelles a long time ago as well. Ben Davies was spoken about last game week. Barco's been spoken about a little bit as well. Van der Ven maybe a little. But I think Emerson Royale, I know the double up on the Spurs defence doesn't look great against Liverpool. You would be looking to bench both of them in game week 36. But we've got Burnley at home in double game week 37, which is nice. And we've got Sheffield United, final day of the season. So I don't mind that. It's not bad. Yash has put in his monthly membership message saying Neto, Zabani, Doughty to Anana, Maguire, Guardiola from -8. Worth it. Building for bench boost 37. Got Flecken to get rid of also. Thank you for the season. You're welcome, my friend. Do I like that? I would prefer Petrovic to Onana. I'll put that one out there straight away. And he's cheaper. But Maguire, he's not bad for a cheap option. I mean, I think Maguire is another one of those cheap players who maybe some of us have been looking at recently. I know he's in my team. I think I prefer Emerson Royale. I think I do prefer Emerson Royale for this game week and not for this game week, sorry, but for the final couple of game weeks of the season. And I'm not really backing Maguire this game week either. So either way, whether it's Royale or Maguire, you probably look to bench them this week. So, I think you say you want to go for Onana, Maguire, Guardiola. I think there's no arguments there that he's a fantastic defensive option. But I prefer Petrovic to Onana, and I prefer Emerson Royale to Maguire. So we're going to go there. Halal says, how about Romero? Danny looks promising on set pieces. Yeah, I definitely think if you have the budget to do Romero instead of Royale, I'd definitely think about it. I'll definitely think about it. But alas. Schär to Burn, a good move. Yeah. It's straightforward. Makes sense. Just a sensible move to trade in one of your Newcastle defenders for another who's cheaper. Frees up a bit of budget. You know, light work. Light work, really. Okay, let's try and complete this team. So, other goalkeepers. I think we're probably looking at potentially Pickford. Aren't we? You would bench Pickford in game week 38 when he plays against Arsenal. You could potentially play Pickford against Luton. And Pickford also plays against Sheffield United in game week 37, which could actually be honor. But is it? But is it actually? That's the big question. Who is going to score more points, do you guys think? Like, Dubravka, you know, Pope's looming. So, oh, crap, I've accidentally clicked Dubravka. We don't want you. I'm actually going to have to refresh this because I don't want to save the team yet. Yeah, I'm going to have to refresh. I don't want to save the team. It's all right. I can remember all the players so far. Stupidly clicked. Yeah, I don't want to click save and start making transfers. Ali says Edison. Edison latest news is that he is basically he's feeling good. He's feeling good ahead of this game week. Right, Haaland. Wait, what is going on? Am I trying to do things too fast? I am. I'm getting impatient. Let's keep throwing these players in then. Let's go goalkeeper, Petrovic. Well, Petrovic is the one goalkeeper we like. Pedro. I'm going to actually leave Royale for now because you definitely could potentially go a different way with that one. The other forward was Isak. Did we get a third defender in? Can't remember if we put a third defender in or not. Oh yeah, we put Gabriel in, didn't we? So okay, yeah, this is where we're at. I do want to figure out who the second best goalkeeper is though. Pickford, Onana are the ones standing out to me the most at the moment in my head. Don't think I'd touch Vicario. I'd be more tempted to try and target Spurs defenders with attacking threat. Verbruggen I don't think is ever nailed on. Dubravka is not nailed on. Raya, single game week against Manchester United, and we've already got Gabriel. I think I'd like to leave some options open for some Arsenal attackers for game week 38 as well. Oh, if there's internet problems, it's definitely me, by the way, guys. I do apologise. So is it Pickford or Onana? It's one of them. Who scores more points? Let's go with Onana. Because you know he's going to get save points. You know, you're probably looking at... With Onana, you're probably looking at kind of 5 points minimum for him. 2 home games. Probably, yeah, we look at 5 points minimum, which is a pretty good baseline with the saves that he'll make. Assuming he concedes two or more goals in one of the 2 games. And gets plenty of saves as well. Yeah, all right. I'm happy with that. So I think this probably forms the base of your team, of like the dream team. If you have all of these players so far, you're in a great position. I think you can pretty much fill in the gaps with whoever your personal preferences are. So for me, it'd be Jackson, be De Bruyne. And of course, this is going to depend on your budget a little bit, whether you can afford this or not. But like either Garnacho or Gordon, maybe Gordon has 3 away fixtures. Gordon or Garnacho. I guess that's budget dependent. Let's see where the budget's at for the 100, because this is based on an 100 million budget, which I know some people are going to kind of struggle with a little bit. So let's go cheap with Emerson Royale. We'll try and find another cheap defender. I mean, could you double up and go for Emil Kraft? Is there any other like bargain defenders to be had? Maybe you just do go for Maguire here. Where is Maguire? There you are. And then go Gordon. Is this going to be affordable for people? Maybe this is a little too much. Okay, let's downgrade you to Romero. Actually, I'm going to have to save first. Okay, let's save this. Let's optimize it, and then we'll... Are we sure Sanchez won't be back? Oh, nothing is ever guaranteed, but I doubt Sancho will be back. I don't, we'll know he'll be back, but I don't think Sancho will play ahead of Petrovic. It's okay. You can probably go cheaper on Romero here. So that saves a little bit of money. Other possible downgrades. Jackson to Wood. You can potentially go Jackson down to Wood. Probably wouldn't do a downgrade on Gabriel, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I think this is pretty much what we want our teams to look like. Something like this. Or ditch De Bruyne and go for Guardiola. Save some money that way. I mean, I think this is pretty much my team anyway. I think my team is like one player off this. Who have I got? Oh, I've got Branthwaite instead of Emerson Royale. I think is that the only difference? Blimey, I've just created my own team. Double leaky Tottenham defence, Dan. Yeah, for sure, but you'll be targeting the attacking returns, really, and looking at that Burnley and Sheffield United fixture in particular. Okay, guys. Want to look at points predictions on defenders in particular, just so we can have a look at them. Aside from that, guys, that's pretty much all I really felt a strong need to say in this stream. Actually, there is a one other thing. And then we'll just open up to questions. So this was a controversial one this week. Paul, are you here? I don't know if Paul's here. So, getting a little bit of stick, as we always do, about the way we pronounce Erling Haaland. So did just want to go over this one again. Haaland, or Haaland, it's kind of soft D at the end there, is the Norwegian pronunciation of Erling Haaland. Haaland is a kind of an anglicised butchering of the name that actually Haaland himself quite likes for his branding. You know, he kind of changed the way he wants people to say his name for branding outside of Norway. But I did just want to confirm the way I say Haaland is not incorrect. It is just the Norwegian pronunciation. And you guys hopefully know by now that we do try and make an effort to pronounce names in the way of their, native regions. We try and make an effort, and if I'm not going to get things 100% correct all the time, but if I'm not saying a name right, let me know what the regional pronunciation is for it. But I'm not going to change. Just wanted to reaffirm not changing the way I say the name Erling Haaland. This is an international YouTube channel, watched by people from all over the world. Something like 20% of people watching are from like the Nordic countries, from Norway, Denmark, Sweden. So it is not changing. We're running an international YouTube channel viewed by people all over the world. And sometimes, Matt Allen, as you mentioned, Bruno Fernandez. Why not? Why not? People from all over the world watching, so we try and get the regional pronunciations as good as we can. Right. Opening up to questions, guys, for the last kind of 5-10 minutes of the stream, whilst we just have a look at some defenders. So feel free to leave a question in the chat. We'll answer that. Guardiola with the highest predicted points between now and the end of the season among defenders. So if you do want to, go for Guardiola, I think it's very obvious. John Davies says, but you ain't Norwegian, so why? I just told you why. Because it's an international YouTube channel. I'm not here just to cater to English people only. So, unfortunately, any English people watching, unfortunately, yes, the league takes place in our country, which we're very fortunate, but we are not the centre of the world. We play a game that's enjoyed by many people, and I think we have to respect that. So yes. It doesn't matter if I'm Norwegian or not. I'm not, if people from other countries, pronounce, I don't know, if I started pronouncing Gavardio, I think the Croatians might have a little problem with that. I think you guys might have a little problem with that as well, because it's just not how it's said. Van Hecke instead of Van Heck or Van Heek. Well, also, what are we going to do? Can't just anglicize everything. And I think that the fairest way of doing things is just to try and make an effort to use regional pronunciations of names. I think that's the only fair thing. Fabian Schr. There's another one. People mentioning Fabian Schr a lot this week. Well, I could say his name like Fabian Schr. Like in an English way of saying it, it would be Fabian Schr, but that's just not how you say his name. It's Fabian Schr. And any people from Switzerland who might be watching will probably be like, Dan, why are you saying Fabian Schr? That's not his name. So I think it's just the best way of doing things. Everyone's going to have their own preference of how names should be said. We've got to find a fair way of doing it. So if you can forgive me for calling Erling Haaland, then I would appreciate it. Oh, dear. Adam says, catchphrase approach. Say what you see. There's two ways. In that case, it would be Haaland. Say what you see. Now, hopefully that makes sense. Right, questions. Let's actually look at some questions now that aren't related to the pronunciations of names, although I am always open to this discussion. Brahim says, when do you think Gusto will be back? I would probably... I don't think it's a season ender for him. I am guesstimating, though. Because in all honesty, the quotes are embargoed. We don't have a quote. We don't have the definitive information. But I don't think it's looking particularly good for West Ham. The West Ham was the target game for him to be back. I don't think he'll start this week. I think we're looking at best case scenario, bench. So yeah, I don't know if I'd sell Gusto. I'd maybe hold up because we don't have definitive information. I would be tempted to hold Gusto and maybe bench him and maybe focus your transfers on other defenders for this week. Dan, how do you pronounce Thomas Rosicky? Thomas Rosicky. Not Rosicky. Not Rosicky. Come on. Say Huang. There you go. What are the best differentials for Gameweek 36? I really like... I think De Bruyne is probably the best high upside differential. I did like the look of Trippier, but it doesn't look like he's going to be the one. Yeah, in terms of differentials, I mean, a lot of the differentials are just going to be single game week players. I think, to be honest, because people are so down on Nicholas Jackson, he is always going to be a differential. So, yeah, a consideration there if you wanted to go differential-ish on Jackson. He's not super differential, but there we go. Mauricio says, when to use the bench boost? Game week 37. Yeah, pretty easy answer there. Deke says, Foden or De Bruyne? If I could choose just one out of Foden and De Bruyne, I would pick Foden. De Bruyne is supplements a Foden. He's not a replacement for him. For sure. Malik says, who's your captain? Erling Haaland is going to be my captain this game week, which hopefully is okay. Zeus is almost correct. We do our best. Well, guys, this is not going to be a stream about me trying to pronounce some players' names. Maybe we'll do that. Okay, maybe we'll do that in the deadline stream later. If we've got a bit of time in the deadline stream later, we can talk more about name pronunciations. But we want to wrap this up pretty soon, so let's stick to FPL just for a moment. Transfer out Mateta for Haaland. Yeah, definitely would be tempted by that. But if I'm totally honest, I would maybe look elsewhere. Because Mateta, I don't mind. I don't actually mind for this game week against Manchester United. I think he could be okay. Guardiola for Schär or KDB for Bruno. I'd probably do the Guardiola move. Just because we know Schär is going to be out. Bruno is more than likely going to be back very soon. With Schär, he's probably done for the season. Probably. Foden or De Bruyne. Again, we go Foden. What's the news on Schär starting? Ain't going to happen. Yeah, looks like he's going to be out for the season. But we covered a lot of this stuff earlier on in the stream. Of course, guys, if you are joining this stream late, feel free to restart it. Yeah, we give all of the team news that we have at the start of the stream. So, yeah, hopefully you're going to get some answers there. But guys, I think we'll probably wrap things up now. And we'll take a little break for an hour or two. And yeah, we'll come back later and do a deadline stream. Yeah, big deadline, game week 36. Only 3 game weeks left. I can't believe that. As soon as today passes, so as of tomorrow, or I guess as of this evening even, there's only going to be 2 deadlines left. How mad is that? absolutely crazy. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching today. Do leave a like if you don't mind doing so. It really does help out the channel. Do subscribe if you haven't done already. We'll be back in an hour or two for a deadline stream. I'll get we'll make sure anyone with notifications has a notification on when we're going to be going live there. And yeah, check out another video if you want to, if you're bored in the meantime. And we will see you later, mates. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.